Gungi was a male Wookiee Jedi Padawan who trained to become a Jedi in the Jedi Order during the era of the Galactic Republic. During the Clone Wars, Gungi and a group of 5 other younglings, Petro, Katuni, Bife, Ganodi, and Zat, were deemed to be at the top of their class, and led by Ahsoka Tano and Jedi Grandmaster Yoda, they traveled to Ilum to participate in the Gathering, an ancient Jedi ritual that proved a youngling's readiness to become a Padawan. Gungi managed to survive the Great Jedi Purge and continued acting as a Jedi during the early reign of the Galactic Empire. Gungi, who was among the top of his class, was sent to Ilum with 5 of his fellow Jedi younglings. While on Ilum, the younglings were instructed by Jedi Master Yoda to enter a crystal cave and find their kyber crystals, which were necessary for the younglings to construct their first lightsabers. Every crystal in the cave was specific to each individual. Gungi found his crystal on an island across a body of water within the cave. Following Ganodi's advice not go into the freezing water, he meditated to wait for the body of water to freeze so he could cross. He was later commended by Master Yoda on his patience. While on their way back to Coruscant aboard the Crucible, Gungi and his fellow younglings began creating their lightsabers under the guidance of Professor Hu Yang when the Jedi's ship was attacked by the pirate Hondo Ohnaka. Hondo and his pirate crew were looking for the kyber crystals the younglings had just collected, as they were worth lots of credits on the black market. Though the younglings managed to escape the pirates, Ahsoka Tano was pulled into space along with the pirates because the Crucible had managed to get away from the pirates' docking station and had created a vacuum. Gungi and his youngling friends were building their lightsabers as they had free time, due to the fact their ship was stranded. After Gungi, Petro, and Bife finished their lightsabers, the group decided to go to Florum to cool their engines, which were at risk of exploding, and to save Ahsoka. Once there, they joined the troop of the Doug Prego to infiltrate the base of Hondo before stealing back Ahsoka's lightsabers, freeing Ahsoka and escaping on a stolen speeder. After escaping on the stolen speeder, Petro made contact with R2-D2 and Ganodi on board the Crucible, but by the time the Crucible got to them, the speeder was almost at a ravine. The Jedi had to attempt to board the ship hurriedly, with Gungi and Bife hanging off of the edge of the boarding ramp before the pirates shot a missile at the ship, causing it to crash and the pirates to take them hostage yet again. When they reached Hondo's base, they found it was under attack by General Grievous, and with the common goal to escape the Separatists, the Jedi and the pirates worked together, freeing Ohnaka and escaped to his secret private fleet before managing to leave Florum. Gungi was later seen training outside the Jedi Temple sometime after the bombing of the temple's hangar. Along with his teacher, Tara Sinubi, Gungi observed as Anakin Skywalker and Barriss Offee dueled outside until Offee was apprehended. Gungi, who attained the rank of Padawan, managed to survive the Great Jedi Purge and kept acting as a Jedi during the early Imperial era. Sometime after the fall of Tipoca City, Gungi was captured by the droids of the Vanguard Axis and taken prisoner on board their space station. He was kept there while the Axis arranged for him to be sold alive to a wealthy buyer, with their leader keeping Gungi's lightsaber on him at all times. At some point, he was able to escape his cell, but was caught by 2 droids who electrocuted him with a zap rod. Omega, a genetically defective clone who was present at the station along with Clone Force 99 to sell forged chain codes to the Axis, caught up to Gungi's torturers and shot them with her energy bow, freeing him. Gungi and Omega were joined by the rest of Clone Force 99, who engaged the other droids and rescued Gungi aboard their Omicron-class attack shuttle, the Marauder. Distraught by the experience, Gungi stayed away from the others as they were traveling away from the station. Omega approached him with a ration pack and tried to get him to eat, explaining that her friends might have been clones, but they were no longer working for the Galactic Empire. Using tech as a translator, the Bad Batch was able to convince Gungi of their good intentions, and prompted by Omega, took course for his homeworld of Kashyyyk. Upon arriving on Kashyyyk, Force 99 decided to land next to a remote village to avoid being detected by Imperial units possibly patrolling the world. They walked with Gungi through a thick forest, but soon found themselves surrounded by netcasters, whose nest wrecker had disrupted in an attempt to clear a path for the team. The netcasters threatened the team, brandishing their fangs, but Gungi asked the team to lower their blasters and opened himself to the creatures through the Force, showing his and his friends' non-threatening intentions. The netcasters recognized Gungi's connection and allowed them to pass. After successfully navigating through the forest, the group reached the village but found it burning. Hunter discovered a group of Trandoshans in the ruins and warned the others that they were holding one of the village's Wookiee warriors captive. Enraged, Gungi activated his lightsaber and rushed to the hunters to free his fellow Wookiee. He managed to free him from his handcuffs, but the remaining hunters turned against him with a pair of incinerator tanks. The Bad Batch joined Gungi, and with his help took down the tanks. As Gungi was mourning the loss of his people in the still-burning ruins, the Wookiee warrior who had escaped returned to help with two of his fellow tribesmen riding Malayas. Finding the Trandoshans dead and Gungi in distress, they invited him and his friends to their own village. There, they introduced Gungi to the village elder, Yana, who was happy to see one of the planet's youth returning home. She explained to Gungi and the Batch that the Trandoshans were working for the Empire and helping extract the land's riches. Upon hearing that, an infuriated Gungi slammed his fist on the table, prompting Hunter to vow that he and his team would do everything they could to help Yana's tribe. Meanwhile, the Trandoshans and a group of stormtrooper clones, led by Babwa Venamor, discovered the remains of his fellow hunters' tanks, and realizing that they had been destroyed by use of a lightsaber, he ordered his hunters to raze the jungle to its roots and find the one responsible. His hunters celebrated and began burning the jungle using their flamethrower tanks. The flames were visible from the village, where Hunter noticed them through his binoculars and warned his team. At the same time, Gungi followed Yana and her warriors to the base of a Roshir tree, where he observed them kneeling and bowing their heads against the wood to ask the trees for their wisdom. Despite being uneducated on his species' culture due to his absence in Coruscant from a very early age, Gungi was soon able to connect with the trees and listen to their will. He soon informed Hunter and the Batch that they, the trees, had an idea. Hunter reluctantly agreed to follow their plan. The Trandoshan convoy made their way through the jungle towards a clearing near Yana's village. There, they were ambushed by the Wookiees and the Batch who were hiding in the bushes. Upon drawing their fire, the team strategically retreated to make the Trandoshans follow them inside the netcaster nests. As they were getting deeper into the jungle, the Wookiees were able to take down the tanks one by one, although they suffered casualties of their own. Eventually, the Trandoshans were taken down by the warriors and the furious netcasters whose nests had been destroyed by the tanks. Venamor, however, ran away into the jungle, following Gungi into another clearing further from the netcaster nests, which he set on fire to trap the Wookiee. Gungi was, however, able to distract the hunter, causing him to surround himself with a ring of fire. Trapped in a close-quarters fight, Venamor's flamethrower was sliced by Gungi's saber, leaving him vulnerable to netcasters who descended from the tress, wrapped him in their webs, and carried him to the treetops where he was killed. With the village liberated, Gungi decided to join Yana's tribe, staying behind to protect his homeworld and defend his people. Gungi, like many other Wookiees, was temperamental and expressive. During his trial at the Gathering, he struggled with the concept of patience, and was only able to acquire his Kyber crystal after allowing himself to slow down. Gungi constructed a green-bladed lightsaber of his own, with a wooden hilt, made from Brylark wood, that he chose from amongst the crucibles storied of materials.